All right, so we are still in Chapter 5 on transcendental functions. We are in section double E, and we're going to be talking about derivatives of inverse functions. So some facts here, right? If you have the composite of the function and its inverse g, that will result in x. If I have the chain rule here with my inverse function, that result will be 1. And this fact we're going to use quite often. If I take the derivative of my inverse function, it is equal to the reciprocal of the derivative of the original function. And we just need to watch for what your input is into that function. It does make a difference. It just goes back to the domain and range concept. All right, so then the couple sentences there just tell you that it's nice that we can calculate this without having to actually find the inverse or know what it is. We're just using properties of the inverse. So looking at number 1 here, find the tangent line at the point here. These are kind of close together. So we're going to use the open space here on the side. So I know that this is f. We're looking for the tangent line for the inverse. All right, so for all practical purposes here, we're going to say that my inverse of f is the same as g. All right, so then I'm looking for the slope of g. So again, using our ratio above. So if I find the slope of f, so I'm going to take the derivative of f. And you really got to note your derivative symbol versus the inverse symbol of the superscript of the -1. So then I've got 3x squared plus 2. So if I evaluate that derivative at the given point, 4, 2, then I've got 4 squared plus 2. 4 squared is 16. 16 times 3 is 48. Plus 2 is 50. So that means that if I have my inverse function and I wanted to find this guy's derivative, it is equal to, here, let's change up our notation here a little cleaner here. So we'll call this y, because your inverse function and your original function, right, they have specific domains. So then that would be my derivative of the original evaluated at its original input of x. Okay, so if I want it to be at 4, 2, I really want 4 to be my x for the f. So if 4 is the x for the f, that means that 2 is the input for the original. So I don't actually want f prime of 4, I want f prime of 2. So then that gives me, so this is a scratch, 2 squared plus 2. So I've got 4, 12. I've got 14. So now we'll go through that notation again here. So right, I'm going to take my derivative at 2. So that's going to be a 1 over 14 is equivalent to the derivative of the inverse evaluated at 4. All right, remember, because your domain x is going to go into the function. So when you switch to find the inverse, old school pre-calc style, is to switch the x and y and solve. So you're switching your domain and your range. All right, so then if we're looking for the equation of the tangent line, now I can just use my my y minus 2 is equal to 1/14 x minus 4. All right, so let's move on to 2a. And maybe we've got to hit this domain and range a little bit deeper here. So if I take my f prime, I'm going to get 3x squared plus 7. Okay, so again, if going back to the function and inverse function, right? So if I've got f here, it's going to map onto g, which is my inverse function. So g is the same as the inverse of f, right? So I've got my domain, I've got my x's. So then over here, I've got my range, or I've got my y's. So if we're going to flip that, right, the input into g's are y's, and then the output are x's if we're going to flip this order. So that means if I'm supposed to evaluate at this point 10, 1 into the inverse G. All right, that means that they really want 10 to be the input. So then 1 is the output, which means that 1 needs to go in to the original function and 10 is going to be the output. So if I take my f prime then at 1, I'm going to have 10. So again, my G, which is my inverse function, all right, I'm looking at my notation before, and I don't think I like the notation because I'm writing G inverse. So I think I can just say G, or I can say F inverse. So let's use the F inverse notation here. So maybe that'll solidify. So if I'm looking for the inverse evaluated at 10, and I want the derivative of that, that is going to equal 1 over the original F evaluated at 1, that guy's derivative. So that's going to be a 1/10. So then my equation of my tangent line is going to be y minus 1 is equal to 1/10 x minus 10. All right, part B the same way. So I'm going to find my derivative of the original function. I'm going to evaluate that derivative at its input of 1. So then I'm going to have 5 plus 9 plus 7 is 21. So then I know that my inverse F evaluated at 13, its derivative is equal to 1 over the derivative of F evaluated at 1, which is 1 over 21. So then I've got y minus 1 is equal to 1 over 21, x minus 13. All right, this may seem a little bit weird the way they're giving you the information. There's a couple of different ways you'll see from the different problems that we talk about. But all these are the same. So it goes all the way here through F, and then I'm noticing here on E and F, the copy didn't print correctly. So we're missing an E to the x squared as a product. And here we are missing negative E to the negative 3x. And then this is supposed to be an x squared plus 1. All right, so here we're doing the same. So I'm going to take my derivative here, evaluated at x, negative 2e to the negative 2x minus 27x squared. Take that derivative evaluated by its input into this inverse function. So then I've got negative 2 minus 0, so negative 2. So again, that tells me my slope here is going to be a 1 over negative 2. So I'm going to have a y minus 0 is equal to a 1 over negative 2, x minus 5. All right, f prime here, 7x squared plus 2. F prime evaluated at 1 is going to be a 9. So I got y minus 1 is 1/9 x minus 12. Then down here we're going to get into some product rules here. So I've got derivative of the first. Bring down my power. Drop them down 1. Times the second. Plus derivative of the second. Chain it. Multiplied by the first. Evaluated by its input. So then I've got 2e plus 5/3 e is going to be 3. We can just make these same denominator, right? 6. So then I've got 11/3 e, which is the same as 11e over 3. So if I want that reciprocal, I'm going to have y minus 1 is equal to 3 over 11e, x minus e. Part F here, we've got our derivative quotient rule, derivative of the top, chain it. So I'm going to make these positive right away before I forget. I'm going to make sure that looks like a dot. Multiply by the denominator minus derivative of the denominator multiplied by the numerator all over the bottom squared. And then we're going to evaluate this at its input. So e to the 0 is a 1. 1 times 3 is a 3. And then I've got a 1. And then I've got a minus 0 times 1 all over 1. So then I have a 3. So y minus 0 is equal to 1/3 x plus 1, parentheses. All right, part G. Same direction set, so we're just going to get through different exposures here. So then I've got my derivative is 7. Derivative of sine is cosine. Keep the input the same, chain it, so I'll put the 2 out in front. So then f prime here at 0 is going to be, 7 plus cosine of 0 is a 1, so then I'm going to have a 9. So then I'm going to have y is, we'll put the equal 0 or minus 0, that's what we had before. So y minus 0 is equal to 1/9 x minus 0. All right, h and I here. So then we've got our derivative. It's 3x squared plus 8. Derivative of cosine is negative sine. Keep your input the same. Chain it. Evaluate at 0. 0 plus 8 minus 0 is 8. So y minus 0 is equal to 1/8 x minus 1. This is where, again, we're doing point slope. Makes it a lot easier. For those that still want to do slope intercept, I think you're probably on part C. Derivative 10, derivative of arctangent, you don't know that yet, so let's just skip that one. That's going to be later on in this unit. All right, F. All right, so then we're going to go with 21x squared. We got chain rule, bring down the 3. Keep the base the same, drop them down to a 2. Derivative of the inside is 1 over x. F prime evaluated at 1 is 21 plus 3. Natural log of 1 is a 0 squared. And then 1 over 1, so that's still going to be a 0. So then I've got 21. So then my tangent line is y minus 1 is equal to 1 over 21 x minus 7. All right. So this table technique is a common AP question format. So function f and its derivative take on the values. If g is the inverse of f, what is g prime of 6? So g prime of 6 is what we're looking for. So then they're really giving us f inverse of 6. What's his derivative is the real question. So that's 1 over f prime of 6 is partner. So here's my 6 for the output. So I'm going to have to evaluate at 2 for the input. All right, so then f prime of 2 is 1/3. So then this is really 1 over 1/3, which is equal to 3. Common question style. Note that one for later on. It's a lot more common than the first grouping we just did. Let y equal f of x equal here. Let g be the inverse. Evaluate g prime of 0. All right, so then this 0 here is considered to be your output value. See here, they didn't give us the input value in order to evaluate. So you're going to have to take this 0 and put it in for the output and solve. All right, so if x is 1, then we're going to have a 0. And if it's no calculator, it's going to be something like that just for you to figure out on your own. So that means if I take my derivative, I got my 3x squared plus 1. I evaluate at my traditional input of 1 now, because they're not giving you like the backwards version here. They're giving you the straight up version. So then I'm going to have a 4. So then that tells me that if I am looking for f inverse at 0, that derivative, that's 1 over f prime of 1. And note the input versus the output here. All right, they're just calling this g instead of saying f inverse derivative. So we know that that's going to be a 1/4. All right, so then that is double E. Nice job. See you in a second for part E.